Hi, this is a review of Thinking with Type by Lupton. I just realized I hadn't looked at the name of the author before, and throughout the book, for some reason, I thought that the author was a guy. The description on the front of this book probably does the best job of explaining what it is. It is a critical guide for designers, writers, editors, and students. Thinking with Type is a non-fiction book, and I'd probably just describe it as a textbook. There are two reasons that I wanted to read this book. Number one, it was recommended by Kavett in one of her videos about books about graphic design. And number two is that I really like graphic design, but I don't really know anything about it. I think that if I wouldn't have been able to study English, I probably would have gone for graphic design. So in an effort to educate myself, I picked up Thinking with Type. It's gonna be a difficult book to describe and review because there's so much going on in here. I feel like this book kind of assumes that you don't really know anything about this subject so far, which is really good for beginners. It starts out with kind of a basic outline of different periods of history and how graphic design evolved combined with the kind of things that were happening at the time. For example, looking at the Renaissance, about the kind of perfect proportions of the body, and that compared to how letters were designed at the time. That kind of historical overview was probably one of my favorite parts of the entire book. Basically, this book kind of goes through everything. It goes through all the technical terms for all the different parts of letters. It shows you how to create your own typeface. The main thing that sometimes bothers me about textbooks is that they're not logical in the way that the information is structured and presented. I feel like even though I went into the direction of the arts, in high school I was very much a maths person, and I feel like I still do most of my thinking in a kind of very structured way. So if textbooks don't handle things in the right order, or information is just kind of presented in a very illogical way, it bothers me a lot. But I have absolutely no complaints about the way things are presented in this book. Here you have the main part of the text. Then over here there is always kind of an example of an image, and then here they explain how that example kind of relates to the main text. And then here there are some suggestions for extra background reading. Sometimes there will be wonderful quotes at the bottom of the page. I really appreciated all the quotes in the book. For example, there is a part on monster fonts, and then there is a quote from Frankenstein. Every page is kind of a surprise, and I feel like it was very witty and kind of sassy at some points. And even the sentences and pieces of text that were used as an example, for example, they would be showing a certain kind of font, you could actually read those sentences, and sometimes they're actually part of the main text. Also, there's lots and lots of examples. It's filled with brochures and posters, and there's exercises in there. Not a lot of them, there's a couple of exercises, and then there are pages with examples of these exercises done by students. I have to admit that there were a couple of sections that I wasn't very interested in, but those only lasted for a couple of pages, so once you're done with that, you can just move on to the stuff you like best. Basically, I can highly recommend this book. If you have any kind of interest in typography, this is excellent. I'll put some links in the description. One will be a link to Kavett's video where she talks about typography books, and the second one will be a link to a page where you can buy this book. If any of you guys have read this book, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys later. Doei!